Welcome to Inspired by Design, the podcast where we explore the tools, stories, and insights to help you rediscover your authentic self and navigate life with less resistance. I'm Katie Rupert, a former hustle and grind overachiever on a thrilling and messy journey. I'd love to share what I'm learning and help others in self-discovery using human design. So, if you're seeking a way to move forward, let me be your weekly mindset coach and share stories to inspire you to action towards your unique purpose without the force or burnout.
Hello, welcome. This is Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert, and I'm trying a new way of recording today, so I'm curious to see how it goes. There's a possibility I might have more background noise, or maybe it's the best sound you've heard on the podcast, but either way, it's a test today. So I had a question come in to the podcast a couple episodes ago when I spoke about my friend Ryan, and the question was if I would share the story that I co-wrote with him. And the answer is yes. I actually was thinking about it when I was recording the episode, thinking, I should have pulled that up and read it. But the story is not complete. And so I was talking, but the story is not complete. And I had done that creative writing project, last summer. And it was just a day or so after I aired that podcast that I got an email offering that same creative writing class with Tess, who Tess has actually been on the podcast. She is a death doula, a writer, an astrologist, and she is offering this creative writing with your spirit muse class. Again, it's virtual through Lilydale, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes. So if you're curious about writing a story or seeing if you have any spirit guides or someone on the other side that wants to write a story with you, or if you're just inspired by that idea, I would invite you to check it out. It's a $25 class. It's very inexpensive, and it was a really cool experience. So I hope that you'll consider that, and I'm going to do it as well and hope that I can finish that story, and if not, then I'll share the partial story that I do have. So today I am going to be talking about circumstances and an experience that I just recently went through. So I'm going to be sharing that, and it might feel a little bit different. I'm going to be reading from my journal, and so who knows what's going to happen, right? Will I be able to read my handwriting? Will I ad-lib? I don't know, but I want to share this story with you and talk a little bit about circumstances. When I was coaching regularly with my Pampered Chef leadership team, coaching calls, building a business, one of the most common things that I noticed that I know I fall into as well, probably we all do, is blaming circumstances for a lack of results, or blaming circumstances for why you're stuck or why you can't or why you have to do a certain whatever. If circumstances aren't perfect, we struggle to move forward on our dreams, our goals, the things that really matter to us even. So I was thinking a lot about that when I journaled. I guess not when I journaled, when I was reflecting on my journal entry. Okay, here it is. I didn't know what was coming. We never do. I pulled out of the parking lot. As soon as the CarPlay loaded, I tapped on Joe's picture. Siri asked what I wanted to say. I said, "Thanks for the yummy lunch. Send it?" Yes. I turned onto the outer road, my mind on my little buddy. He'd just spent the morning at the apartment, and he's getting used to it still. As I left this morning, he was giving me those sad puppy dog eyes. Really? You're leaving me again? I'd left earlier to observe a new fitness class that I'm learning to teach. A new message comes through. Siri says, "Joe loved your message." I turn the corner, and I'm almost home. A box truck is braking quickly, and I have to stop. Then, a nice sigh of relief as I'm thankful that I saw him braking. My mind thought, there must be some traffic ahead at the stoplight. That's weird. I wonder why traffic would be backed up right now. Then his lights fired up, and I realized he was reversing. Oh, shoot! Is there anyone behind me? No. Okay, I reached down to hit the reverse, but then impact. Ugh, not again. What is wrong with me? How am I attracting bad luck in this car? Could it just be the car is the bad omen? Ugh, Socks now has to wait. I can't give him his lunch. I'm going to lose out on my free afternoon. I'm going to have to go back to the body shop. Will my insurance go up? By now, I'm pulling out of the intersection and off to the side, getting ready to try my best to be kind through my disappointment. I'm grateful that the car is still running and maybe it won't need to be towed. I parked and began to exit my car, and I hear lots of yelling. The truck is now driving away. I ran with my phone in hand to snap a picture and try to get the license plate. 5 construction workers are off to the side yelling explicits at that car. They're so fired up. And then they look at me. Are you okay? I can't believe he did that. One of them comes down and asks me if I'll turn around and come to a safer spot. And another notices a cop just in sight and starts running towards him. And the officer then fires up to go and chase after the box truck. I pulled up safely near the construction work site on the side of the road, and another guy had his phone, hands it to me. He said, I located the guy's work, and here's his boss that's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. As I talked with him, he gave me his number, his email. He apologized. And he asked what I was going to do next. And I said, well, I was about to call the police for a report. And he said that would be a wise next course of action. Then I remembered I have a dash cam, but I don't know how to look up the video. Oh well, I can figure that out later. Then I notice I am adrenaline up. My body is shaking. It feels like life is in slow motion. And then I just smile at these men that all witnessed what happened. And I feel supported. I feel a little overwhelmed. How kind of them. By now, another officer is pulling up. And I shared what happened. I got my papers. He took statements from the men. And then he asked if I could wait in my car. I kept thinking about my little buddy at home. And I said, would you happen to be okay if we did the paperwork in the parking lot at my apartment? I can see it from here. And he said that would be fine. So he followed me to my apartment. And he was so understanding. I parked, I let Socks out, I fed him, my body's still shaking. I'm so overwhelmed, like I can't seem to calm down. Try to take a couple of breaths. On my way, another message, 1:20 p.m. It's from Joe. Granddad just passed at 1:11. I wasn't sure what to say. I know he knew that call was coming soon, but my heart sank. When I pulled up to my apartment to let the dog out, I saw my shelf and my doormat and my little angel that watches the apartment sitting on the grass outside. And I thought, what a weird day. I let Socks out. I fed him. I went back to the police officer, and by now he had a coworker there, and they were talking about my case. He was so kind to me, and when he gave me my case number, he said, all I need to do is get an estimate for how much the damages on my car is, and he'll take care of the rest. I got 2 unknown calls right away. A boil order for my water district was one of them. And I just kept thinking, like, what the heck? Like, all of this information, all of these circumstances coming at me. I just need a minute. As I looked down, it was 1:56. oh my goodness, this hour has been insane. I just sat down and I stared for a while. I tried to check in on my body as I knew I was still shook up. I know that as a practitioner of nervous system regulation, I could tell that I was someone that needed it. I needed to take a few breaths. I needed some stretches or something. And in this moment, I realized all the gifts that I have to support myself. I have gratitude. But as I looked at the clock and it said 1:56, which by the way, this is my angel number. Every time 56 shows up, I'm like, okay, I know that change is coming. I know I'm being transformed. I know good things are on their way. Stay on the right track. Like, this is what it means to me. And so every time I see that on the clock, and I just I feel supported. So I sat down to write. I needed rest. I needed a nap, something. My mind was saying, go. But my body was saying, stop it. So instead of calling the insurance company or getting right over to the body shop or whatever, getting on with my day that I had plans, I just sat down on my bed, which by the way wasn't made because I had washed the sheets that morning. So I laid out my robe and I laid down on my bed and I just closed my eyes. I wrote what I just read to you. And then I grabbed my tarot deck, was just sitting there. And I was like, all right, Spirit, do you have a message for me? And out came 6 cards, which I was like, okay, are we trying to overwhelm Katie? Why 6 cards? I noticed right away there was a swords, which as I'm learning tarot, I know that swords are always your mind is going nuts, and we need to calm down. It's in my head, I have been associating it in a negative fashion, or there's something negative happening. So I'm going to read my journal. I'm going to read this again. These are the cards that I got. So I'm sitting down, trying to pause, trying to calm down. 7 of Pentacles. This card I've gotten 3 times in a row. And all it means is to remind me that magic is growing under the surface where I can't see it. I have been doing the work, and be sure to be grateful. Then the Knight of Cups. I'm full of passion. I care deeply about ideas, desires, and dreams. And to remember that my life can be, as I create it, a graceful moment of a slow dance. Be in touch with your emotions. The message. The 8 of Swords. An opportunity to let go of an old story. I'm free to choose my healing and light. Now, I stopped here when this was all going down, and I thought, what old story? Am I not being grateful? Am I what's going on? Am I missing something? I started turning inward on me, overthinking, which if you know the sword suit, it's that's the whole point. But at the time, I didn't get it. So at that point, I kind of stopped journaling. I walked away. I think the kids got home. And so I took the car up to the body shop. I did my mom duties. I did my thing, right? And I never got back to it. But then the next morning, I was just having so much trouble. Here's what I wrote. I'm having so much trouble this morning with focus. I need a plan. I'm feeling scattered. I have all these options, but no peace. Should I do yoga? Should I go to the spa? Joe's having a rough day, and maybe I'm repatterning myself on trying to fixing someone else is making me unsettled. And then I go on to list all of my feelings. I'm going to skip that. And then I got to the point where I wrote, I'm in frustration. I'm in anger. I'm feeling stuck. And at the end of this journal entry, it says, well, hello, shame, my comfortable foe. Frustration, anger. Peace isn't feasible right now. And here I am, stuck. Whoa. I thought to myself, I wrote, maybe this is my 8 of Swords from yesterday. The message yesterday, showing up may have been under the surface. Maybe it was perfect timing. And here we are, the message at the exact right time. And it's about how I see myself, how I see my circumstances. Am I always going to react the same way and be blind? Is this what it means? What is the truth? What is this story that I'm not letting go of? What is my truth? And I wrote, I'm the constant in my relationships. I've already decided to let go of my coping strategy of trying to fix things or trying to be perfect. And what I really want is to plant seeds of keeping my peace, not merging with other people's feelings, and a real way back home when these moments do arrive. And then I wrote the message of the Eight of Swords. I wrote it down as like an affirmation. I create my reality through my thoughts and my actions, not actually through my circumstances. So I guess I'll stop there. I wanted to share that because, like, if you think about this day that I'm describing to you, right? Like, there is so much going wrong. If someone would have told me, like, they had to get up early, they're running, on their way home, they get into a car accident, the person runs away, like a hit and run, right? They did find the person, by the way, and everything's going to be just fine. But and then, like, there's a boil order, you lost out on your free afternoon, you're, the guy that you're seeing just lost a loved one, and this is the first time that this has happened. So how do I support? And while I've got all this other stuff going on, and those alone, those are a lot of circumstances, right? And I was navigating my emotions. At the time, I didn't have access to, like, fixing anything, right? I just had to, like, sit in it. And I mean, what I did, took a pause, journaled, tried to get it all out on paper. Like, this is a good strategy for me. It might be a good strategy for you. But the point about why I wanted to share all of this, even in its messy way, is we all do this. We all have circumstances. We all have circumstances that we don't want. And yet, since we're the creators of our life, we aren't necessarily the creators of our circumstances. Some of them, yes. And you could make an argument for everything you do is creating these circumstances, but sometimes things are out of our control, right? I mean, we can generally say that. And the whole point of my re-epiphany, right? It's not that I haven't learned these things before, is that I get to have sovereignty over my life. I am able to free myself from the shackles of circumstances. I'm never really stuck. I'm not helpless. I can't control every experience, but I can continually be aware and work on controlling how I respond to each experience. And one of the other cards that I finished looking at them, was the Four of Cups, which is all about not missing opportunities and making sure that I keep those higher vibes, that my judgments and negative things that happen in my life, when those come up, that I can reframe them, which I'm grateful to say that I naturally do that anyway. But I just really, really thought this was amazing because it's in real time. Circumstances suck. I'm dealing with them, not perfectly, and yet I can go back and reflect. And this is how I create the life that I want. This is how I create the circumstances that I want to be in, is knowing what it is that I want to feel: peace, freedom, a sense of purpose, a sense of knowing who I am, what my mission is. And that was my final card, by the way. The other card that I got was the King of Wands, which is all about remembering what your mission is, remembering that you have passions, you have dreams, you have this entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, that's true for me. And so I just took a minute and I started writing out, like, what is my mission? Going back to your why is another great way to bring back to mind, to reframe your experiences. Like, they are never, what did we say on last week's podcast with Kelly? It was, I never fail, I only learn. This is a way to reframe it. So coming back to the heart of, like, what am I here for? What am I doing? What do I want? And as a manifesting generator, so let me give my human design nerd out. As a manifesting generator, I got to a place where I was frustrated and angry. Those are my two red flags that I am not responding to life with a full-bodied yes. And therefore, I'm not going to feel satisfied or peace. And when I think about what I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel satisfied. I want to feel purposeful. And I want peace. And so the green flags of being a manifesting generator are those anchors for me. And I love that it's so aligned, because even if I didn't know human design, I would still want those things. I'm glad I have words for them. But when I wrote down my mission, a few highlights from it: I want an energetic and healthy body. I want to balance my eating with my dosha type. I want to continue with full mobility through old age. I want to know when my nervous system's dysregulated and use in real time the tools that I have. I want clothes that make me feel beautiful and healthy. I want an energetic and healthy body. I want a thriving, building career where I'm growing and learning and traveling and sustaining, that has an assistant or two for the things that I really don't like to do, that's entertaining, that is surrounded by people, that I want a connected, healthy relationship as a priority with myself, with my family, with my kids, with my ex co-parenting, with those that I can have partnership in, with my business, with those who help me optimize my resources and my relationships, like my chiropractor, my therapist, coaching and mentorship. I want to feel connected and know that home is me. And so those are just a part of my mission, right? It's nothing specific. It's not, I got to build this business to be a award-winning podcast, or this is going to be, I'm going to be a big human design big wig or whatever. I don't need those specifics. I am in a place that today, when it comes to my circumstances, I want to feel solid. I want to feel these things, my mission and my purpose, being out there and fulfilled while I'm in the chaos, while I'm in the mess, while I don't know what is coming next, right? Just like when I left work, I had no idea that there was going to be a box truck that missed their turn and decided to reverse so they wouldn't have to turn around. And, I'm just going to be there with a small car that they can't see. I mean, essentially that's what I'm assuming happened. But I didn't plan for that. I couldn't control those circumstances. And I can all day think about how I wish I would have overstayed at work another minute or two, or I wish I would have made that stop that I thought about making, or I wish I would have driven a little faster, a little slower, so I wouldn't be behind this. I could say those things all day, but those are the things that I can't control. What I can control is the compassion that I send out to this person that gave me this circumstance, right? I can remember the amazing construction workers that were there to witness, like, what a gift, because, if you're behind someone and your car is hit, it's going to look like I hit the car, right? So it just was not, like, there were so many wonderful, beautiful things that I can be grateful for within it, even in so much as that time that I spent to journal and think about my thoughts and write the story of my day and share it with you. Like, I'm beyond grateful, and I hope that it makes sense. I'm gonna not belabor it too long, but I would be curious if you have practiced anything like this for yourself. Are there times that your circumstances were so overwhelming? I know that that's true, but that were so overwhelming that you learned something from it. Either you didn't handle it the way that you feel like you could now today with what you've learned from it, or that you were able to take that moment in time and still find your mission, your gratitude, your stability within the chaos, even if you can't control what's going on. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And if it's something you don't really think about, I hope that it will support you as circumstances pop up this week, this weekend, and just know that you are in control of you. You might not feel it. You might not feel like it at all. But as you get to know yourself, as you get to know your true why, as you get to see the fruits of not letting your circumstances win your mind, your heart, your emotions, but responding to them and then recalibrating back to who you are and where you're headed in life. I hope that supports you this week. So that's what I have for you. And I will remind you that throughout May, I'm doing those May connection chart sale. It's like a Mother's Day sale, but anyone can take advantage of it. Just a little discount if you are interested in a connection chart or a personal reading so that you can know yourself better and connect to your people better. That is in the show notes. It's a little Google form that you can fill out. If you have questions or you want to share something about this episode or any of them, you can find me over at Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert on the Facebook group. You can do the Google form, the question, and share what you want to there. And also, as always, if you like this podcast, if you think it's helpful for you and you think of anyone when you're listening to it, I would love if you'd share the episode, share the podcast with them, or just share it so that other people can find it. You know, maybe you'll leave a review or a little note. But no obligation for that. Thanks for listening to the end. I hope you have a great one, and we will talk to you next Friday.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired by Design with Katie Rupert. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your takeaways, subscribe, or even leave a review to help others find the show. For more tools and insights, visit my free Facebook group. And until next time, keep embracing exactly who you are and move forward one inspired action at a time.